Coming up tonight, a nation in mourning. A former prime minister is weighing in on the death of one of his former cabinet ministers. Plus, our Marlena Leonard joins us live from Bimini. Residents there say they hope the legacy of their former representative lives on. And then, the Public Hospitals Authority clarifying concerns of a drug and supply shortage. Hear what your alternatives may be. And then in our news at 7:30, Junkanoo season has officially begun as seed money has been handed out and the work begins. These details and more as our news live at 7 starts now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard sitting in for Quintino Knowles. Tributes continue to pour in for the late Minister Obi Wilchcombe across the country. In an exclusive interview with our news, former Prime Minister Perry Christie is remembering the life of Wilchcombe as he says his death came as a shock.
There's no doubt that he was very, very effective in his work for the people of Grand Bahama. And he had this personal relationship. You know, I was saying to a friend this morning that whenever we had political rallies, of all the candidates in Grand Bahama, Obi had this following, and I could still hear the crowds, Obi, Obi, Obi. And it was like when that parade started on a motorcade in West End, it was like it would never stop.
Now, our Italia Hall has a full interview with the former Prime Minister during the 7:30 hour, where he reflects on the life of the late Obi Wilchcombe. And as we said, condolences are continuing to pour in for Wilchcombe, with a number of his parliamentary colleagues sharing fond memories of the 64-year-old. Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Bolek says, in addition to a successful political career, Wilchcombe was a successful athlete back in the day.
He was once-time president of the Grand Bahama Basketball Association. He was a former quarterback playing American football for Grand Bahama, where they won many titles.
Boleg also shares a recent memory the late minister had in the sporting arena.
Most persons was not aware that he was there as an assistant coach, mentor, and also a player with the politicians in preparations for the pastors' games. And so, you know, we had this group made up where he would always text us and tell us be to the gym on time. And so that sports icon and that attitude he has as a former winner, as a quarterback and lead in sports, always showed up. And even though it also showed up in his political life. So again, he's not only a political giant, but also a sports icon in this country.
Wilchcombe was a member of parliament who was loved and respected by his constituents. Joining us now is our Marlena Leonard in Bimini tonight, having spent the day talking to residents about the legacy of the late Obi Wilchcombe. Marlena, what was the response like amongst Biminites?
Well, honestly, when we came over today, it was just kind of a protest. It seemed like that was the feeling of most Biminites on feelings of disbelief. And there's one group in particular that we don't usually associate with politics, at least the younger demographic. About the late minister and his impact on the youth of Bimini.
Minister was one that really pushed the youth of this island. He wanted to see the youth run this country, and so his impact as far as youth development was great.
Robin says Wilchcombe would regularly push the next generation to step up into positions that were more than just a job, but instead a catalyst for growth.
He saw things in us as youth that I guess only he thought that he could see, but he pulled it out of us. He pushed us. And so, you know, it's a deep loss for everyone here in the community, but again, particularly the youth of the island.
Chairman of the Progressive Young Liberals Bimini branch, Daquan Brennan, echoes that sentiment, having served as a junior minister of tourism under Wilchcombe.
He gave me a chance. I was the youngest person employed at the Ministry of Tourism. He also sent me abroad to study Spanish, and today I possess a second language because of him. I fostered international relationships because of the minister. So his impact to me was very, instrumental in things that he's done and fostered, and basically setting the vision forward to what he see potentially that you can do.
Brennan hopes that the legacy of pushing the nation's future generations will carry on.
And he wanted to make sure that everyone is doing well, that this is good, that what he left you doing, that if you're still doing that, what is the plans, what are you going to do going forward? These are things that he was interested in.
And Wilchcombe still had big plans for Bimini.
The last time we spoke, he talked about laying out his master plan for Bimini, and it's sad that we didn't get to see what it actually was. But, these are things that he always wanted to the encouragement. He always wants us to think, what's the next step ahead? How are you going to do this? What are you going to do? He wants us to be directly involved in his master plan.
Now, after all of that talk about trying to make sure that legacy moves forward, Brennan actually did have a speaking engagement at a school this afternoon talking about why it's so important to be part of the future of Bimini. So there's still hope that even though, unfortunately, Wilchcombe is gone, his legacy continues through those that he helped to mentor. So reporting live in Bimini, I'm Marlena Leonard. Back to you, Megan.
Thanks so much for that report, Marlena. Well, in other news, PHA Managing Director Dr. Obi Wilchcombe is clarifying concerns of a drug and supply shortage within the public healthcare system. It comes days after former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands claimed the public healthcare system is suffering from the shortage of important supplies and medicine and questioned the reason behind it. Sands said the public healthcare system was out of a specific drug used to treat cancer patients. Dr. Wilchcombe says they found alternatives.
Where we do have issues with supply chain, it is not in all instances. I did have an opportunity to review. We do have some of the oncolytics or the drugs that are used for cancer patients that we do not have, but we were able to get some of the alternative drugs to be utilized until we were able to access those.
The F&M chairman also told Our News there was a shortage of vascular grafts needed for dialysis treatment. To that, Dr. Wilchcombe admitted they ran into some delays.
We had some issues with that. Not necessarily. It was in terms of getting them delivered to the hospital. I am happy to report that since we spoke, we were able to get some. And so now patients requiring dialysis are now able to get their catheters put in so that they can have their therapy done. But there was a delay.
Well, it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Cloudy day around the islands, humid, and we did see a couple of isolated showers, but it's kind of calmed down right now. Temperatures in the mid-80s, 85 degrees outside our studios, partly cloudy skies. Your winds out of the east-southeast at 10 miles per hour, and your face-like temperature is at 91. Temperatures around the islands right now tonight, it's 82 in Freeport, 83 over in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up 85 in Allenstown, Bimini. You guys have some showers in the vicinity. 85, Nicholstown, Great Harbor Key, 84. Governor's Harbor, you guys are 84 as well. Central Bahamas, 84 in Kemps Bay, Arthurstown, Cat Island, and in Deadman's Key. Georgetown, 85, 82. Cubantown, San Salvador. 85s, once again, Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Cricket Island. Delectable Bay, some showers nearby with 84, 83 in Abrams Bay, Providenciales, 85, and Deep South, Matthew Town, Inagua, you guys are 85, 86 actually at this hour. Taking a look at our satellite and radar composite, we do have some showers and thunderstorms across the area. That's courtesy of a moisture plume that's continuing to plague us. That should be in place for the remainder of the week. And of course, we are still watching Philippe out there, but Philippe is actually doing a little bit of its own. It's still a tropical storm, 50-mile-per-hour winds continuing on that west-northwestward track. It's being steered by an upper-level high that's just to the north of it. But over the course of the next couple of days, computer models are now showing the system moving due west, headed towards the southeast Bahamas, but it's a good thing for us. It's going to be weakening as it approaches us, and at the end of that 5-day, 7-day cycle with the models, it looked like it's actually going to be taking a southwest drift, but we will continue to watch the system over the next several days. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, tourism, it's everyone's business. And today that message is highlighted even more as we celebrate World Tourism Day. Plus, court in session. Former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard to answer sex-related charges. And then in our Work in Progress segment, red light runners beware. New technology enhancing capabilities at stoplights across New Providence. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
The trial against former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard has begun after the designer was imprisoned on sex-related charges in December 2020. Finnish-born Nygaard, who is 82 years old, faces 5 counts of sexual assault on 5 women from incidents alleged to have taken place between the 1980s and 2005. A jury will hear the prosecution's argument against Nygaard in a Toronto courtroom, the same city in which the incidents are said to have occurred. Nygaard last week submitted a plea of not guilty to all 5 counts. Court sketches from the bail hearing showed Nygaard wearing an orange prison-issue jumpsuit. A resident of Canada, Nygaard grew up in Manitoba, eventually running his namesake clothing companies and becoming one of Canada's wealthiest people. Police investigating a shooting that left a 21-year-old man from Coconut Grove dead. Around 10:45 last night, an anonymous caller reported hearing gunshots through First Street. Officers responded and found a man's bullet-ridden body at the back of a business. Police were told the victim was walking in the area when he was approached by a gunman who shot the victim and ran from the scene. The world is celebrating World Tourism Day, and here at home, the nation's #1 industry is celebrating the fruits of their labor this year with millions of arrivals so far. Our Joshua Williams reports.
The industry that has made itself everyone's business is celebrating World Tourism Day. Tourism has been a staple for the nation for decades now, and with the ministry celebrating with other nations worldwide, Director General Latia Duncombe says she's pleased with the country's performance.
Year-to-date August 2023, we have welcomed 6.6 million visitors to our shores.
As for how these achievements are made possible, Duncombe says it's all hands on deck.
We're structured in such a way with a very diverse team. From the marketing, PR, advertising perspective, it's all hands on deck. And we make sure that Brand Bahamas is always positioned well. And so whether it's visuals that we're capturing, efforts to ensure that we're in the front of the right audiences, making sure that whatever their preferences would be, whether it's in the verticals, boating, fishing, diving, romance, any of those particular areas, we're able to serve up ads and messaging on an ongoing basis.
Duncombe also credits international relations.
And our Deputy Prime Minister is in Saudi Arabia celebrating with global leaders with the United Nations World Tourism Organization. So while he's there on the global front, our team and our industry is on the ground in the Bahamas. And then we have boots on the ground. We have Bahamas tourist offices throughout North America and also in Europe. Those teams on the ground engage in face-to-face discussions with key stakeholders in market all of the time. They're all located in key sectors of the U.S. And very soon we're going to be opening an office in L.A. as well.
Throughout the week's celebrations, the ministry has also been taking tourism to the schools.
These students are our future leaders. Yesterday I met with primary school students. Today I'm meeting with senior students. Tomorrow I'm meeting with junior students. This is our Bahamas. This is our industry. And we have to preserve and protect it in a very sustainable way.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks so much, Joshua. Well, your commute on the streets of New Providence should flow a little smoother, at least when it comes to your wait at traffic lights. Senior Traffic and Transport Engineer in the Ministry of Works, Joy John, says they are currently in the process of upgrading the 80 traffic lights on the island.
We have so far upgraded with the modern technologies, artificial intelligence, about 69. 69 of intersections have been upgraded. So we have cameras that are doing the above ground detection, and we have infrastructure that recognizes how much pedestrians are moving, how much traffic is moving, how much cyclists are moving across these intersections.
He explains the quality and efficiency now experienced on the back end.
What it enables us also engineers to do is that should there be any issues, we get alerts through our mobile phones, so we address those challenges on time.
As for when the remaining lights will be upgraded, he says that depends on a supply chain issue.
So these other 11 equipments we are still awaiting from the supplier in Florida.
And red light runners beware. John says this upgrade also helps to capture the offense.
We have experienced so much red light runners, and I can see it from my computer in my office how much people are infringing on these traffic flows at the intersection.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as a former U.S. president faces a major defeat in court. Plus, a $75 million settlement by a U.S. bank. Sex trafficking of young women said to be at the root of the lawsuit. And from the region, one of South America's most active volcanoes raising concern in Chile. We have the details on the recently released Amber Alert. Stick with us, these stories and more when Our News returns.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We've invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
United Faith.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Embrace technology.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. A New York judge found Donald Trump and his family business fraudulently inflated the value of his properties and other assets in a major defeat for the former U.S. president that could severely hamper his ability to do business in the state. Ryan Chang reports.
Donald Trump was found liable of financial fraud in a New York civil case alongside his eldest sons, as well as some business associates. That decision came Tuesday from New York Judge Arthur Engoron and marks a major defeat for Trump that could severely impact his ability to make money in New York as he seeks a return to the White House next year. The judge said Trump and the other defendants dishonestly inflated the ex-president's net worth, the value of his properties, and other assets to suit their own business needs. In particular, the judge took issue with Trump lying about how big his penthouse was, claiming it was 30,000 square feet, nearly triple its actual size, resulting in an overvaluation of as much as $207 million. As penalty, the judge stripped Trump of certificates that let some of his businesses operate in New York, including the Trump Organization. The Tuesday ruling is also a big victory for New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who last year pressed charges against Trump. Tuesday's ruling makes it easier for James to establish damages at a trial set for October, which is also set to look at whether Trump and his children lied about his net worth to get better loans and insurance. Trump has filed a lawsuit against Judge Engoron. He's accused him and James of ignoring an appeals court order to narrow the case. The lawsuit aimed to delay the trial, arguing Engoron's inaction has made it impossible to prepare a defense. Trump has blasted his fraud accusations as ridiculous and untrue in a post on his Truth Social platform. He accused Engoron as a deranged judge doing the bidding of James, a Democrat. Trump, who faces a slew of other litigation, has denied all wrongdoing and branded the cases a Democrat witch hunt against him.
J.P. Morgan Chase said it will pay $75 million to settle a lawsuit by the U.S. Virgin Islands, alleging that the American bank facilitated and benefited from the sex trafficking of young women by its longtime customer, Jeffrey Epstein. USVI's Attorney General Ariel Smith announced the settlement in a video message to Islanders today. The settlement stops a trial that had been set to start next month. Chile's National Geology and Mining Service has raised the alert level for the Villarrica volcano from yellow to amber, citing a gradual increase in volcanic activity. One of South America's most active volcanoes, Villarrica has a 200-meter-wide open crater and last erupted in 2015, sparking a mass evacuation, but ultimately no injuries. An amber alert means there is a greater possibility that an eruption will take place in the coming days or weeks. Some 30 families who live in a radius of 5 miles from the crater will be evacuated, and access to the area will be blocked, officials said. Schools in the nearby towns have closed and will be taught online. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was September 27th. Plus, men's health matters. We'll tell you about a safe space where men can get the answers to all of their pressing health concerns. And then in our news at 7:30, tributes continue to pour in for the late legendary broadcast journalist and politician, Obi Wilchcombe. That's coming up when our news returns.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies.
Welcome back. It's now time to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was September 27th. Take a look. On this day in Bahamian history, on September 27th of 1514, Juan Ponce de Leon was appointed military governor of Florida and Bimini by Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain. De Leon was a Spanish explorer who founded the first European settlement on Puerto Rico. Born into a noble family, Ponce de Leon was a page in the royal court of Aragon and later fought in a campaign against the Moors in Grenada. In 1502, he was in the West Indies as a captain. The Spanish crown encouraged Ponce de Leon to continue searching for new lands. Tradition holds that he had learned from Indians of an island called Bimini, on which there was a miraculous spring or fountain that could rejuvenate those who drank from it, called the Fountain of Youth. In 1973, Harold G. Christie died while on a business trip in Frankfurt, Germany. Christie was a politician, member of parliament, realtor, land developer, and businessman. He founded Bahamas Airways, the Bahamas Real Estate Association, and H.G. Christie Limited, the oldest and largest real estate company in the Bahamas. Then in 2017, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis detailed plans to assist students from Dominica who were impacted by wild weather. In 2018, the Fiscal Responsibility Bill was debated in Parliament. The bill governs the way the government spends and accounts for taxpayers' money. The Minister of Finance, Peter Turnquest, said the new law will require the government to submit a fiscal adjustment plan to explain any proposed deviations from its fiscal strategy report. And in 2020, it was revealed that Bahamas Petroleum Company was given environmental clearance for exploratory oil drilling.
All environmental clearances were issued, and the proposed exploratory well that was scheduled for this year has been moved to the first quarter of 2021.
While they are in the business of saving souls, Charisma Church and Bahamas Harvest Church looking to save lives this Thursday at their first joint men's health seminar. Coordinator Kevin Harris says men can be shy when it comes to raising and addressing their health concerns, but the seminar aims to create a safe space.
There are a lot of Bahamian men that sometimes do not realize that they are in tremendous physical danger until it's sometimes too late, stage 4 colon cancer or prostate cancer at an advanced stage. And so we felt that as leaders, it would be wonderful to try to help Bahamian men before it's too late. And so the Men's Health Seminar is designed to be an educational platform, but it's also designed to be a safe space for men to come and ask those questions that they've always wanted to ask about any area of health.
Now, that seminar takes place tomorrow night at Bahamas Harvest Church. To watch that again and for all of today's top stories, be sure to visit ournews.bs. That does it for our news at 7. Joining us now is our Talia Hall with the latest headlines. Talia.
Yes, Megan, thanks so much. Well, a former Prime Minister and Bimini residents reflect on the life and legacy of the late Obi Wilchcombe, and the Public Hospitals Authority is ramping up its search for nurses. Here are your latest headlines. A lasting impact. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30. In an exclusive interview, a former Prime Minister is reflecting on the life and legacy of the late Obi Wilchcombe.
Obi has to have something done for him, okay, that would show his love, okay? His enduring love for the people.
Plus, those on the island of Bimini say news of his death came as a shock. Our Marlena Leonard is coming to us live from Bimini. Also, increasing capacity. This as the Public Hospitals Authority seeks to address the nursing shortage across the country. Also, a deal has been set. This as Bahamian NBA star DeAndre Ayton has been traded to the Portland Trail Blazers in a 3-team trade. Our News Live at 7:30 is back in a moment.
Doctors Hospitals reimagine primary care. We've invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station. Open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Collect verse access is as easy as grab a collect, scan a collect. Open your camera app, focus on the QR code, and click the link that appears. You own your collect verse experience. Take selfies, join the cultural referendum, and share with your friends. See content from local chefs, Olympic athletes, and cultural icons. Collect is proud to be 50. Grab a collect, scan a collect. Get in the collect verse today.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Atalia Hall. The outpour of love continuing around the country for Social Services Minister Obi Wilchcombe tonight. He holds the distinction of serving in Parliament under 3 prime ministers and leaders of his Progressive Liberal Party. It was the late Sir Lyndon Pinlin who first appointed him as senator. He was elected for the first time and served under former Prime Minister Perry Christie. Well, tonight, in an exclusive interview, we hear from the former Prime Minister, who was responsible for 2 of his cabinet appointments, who describes him as a colleague and a close friend.
He had this, not a penchant, he had this strong feeling that we were too New Providence-centric, that we weren't thinking of the islands, and that we had to think more of the islands. We had to think more of Grand Bahama. We had to think more of the family islands.
That's former Prime Minister Perry Christie reflecting on the life and legacy of the late Obi Wilchcombe. He's known him for more than 3 decades, first recognizing his talent as a radio personality. He says it was former Prime Minister, the late Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinling, who saw a future in Wilchcombe, as Wilchcombe was able to articulate any speech made by Pinling. Christie says Wilchcombe was committed to the Progressive Liberal Party, and he was not only his colleague, but a friend that he shared many conversations with.
Was he perfect? No. Imperfections? Yes. He and I discussed some of them often. And I remember saying to him, now you promise me. And he would promise me. But the point is that that's the kind of relationship we had.
Christie revealing that Wilchcombe played an integral role in helping to reshape the PLP before the 2002 elections.
We had to do any number of things, including changing the face of the political headquarters so people driving past could see the change taking place, not just in the PLP through the people we were nominating, but through the whole restructuring and rebuilding of the Progressive Liberal Party headquarters.
He says after the party won in 2002, he appointed Wilchcombe as Minister of Tourism.
His personality was engaging, and I always knew as a former Minister of Tourism, that the office holder had to be able to establish a good relationship with the industry.
Wilchcombe led the tourism industry for a decade and was instrumental in developing many projects like Winding Bay and Baker's Bay in Apico, the third phase of Atlantis, Sunwing in Freeport, Ginn in West End, and Bimini Bay. Christie says he and Wilchcombe also worked together to introduce sports and religious tourism to the country. He says following major hurricanes, Wilchcombe helped to coordinate relief efforts for the people of Grand Bahama, West End in particular.
I remember on so many times walking through the streets and walking into homes that were devastated and talking to families and watching Obi take such a deep personal interest in that.
Christie recalling his last moments with Wilchcombe last week Friday.
I asked him this last Friday at lunch for Tyler Perry. I said, Obi, you doing okay? You taking good care of yourself? He said, yeah, man, I'm doing okay. I'm taking care of myself.
The news came as a shock for him. All right, now if you want to hear more from my exclusive interview with former Prime Minister Christie, be sure to visit ournews.bs. It's available now. Our Marlena Leonard joins us again tonight from Bimini as she shared earlier the impact Wilchcombe had on the island's youth. Now she's sharing more stories from his time as Bimini's Member of Parliament and why some are remembering him as the best Member of Parliament Bimini ever had. Marlena, what have Biminites said about him and his role as their representative?
Well, you know, we heard from the youth earlier, but when you talk to the people who've been living here their whole life, they describe him as someone who got things done, someone who was a champion for the people. He would come to your defense. And what seems really important to a lot of them is he didn't discriminate. He didn't care what your political or party affiliation was. He just wanted what was best for you. And so, you know, it's obvious from the outside looking in, but they echo that sentiment that Bimini is really hurting and the island is mourning the loss of him tonight.
Bimini is sopping in tears. People are very, very sad, very sad.
Ellis, who is also a leader on the Bimini Golf Cart Association, says as an MP, Wilchcombe was a champion for the concerns of his people. He offers one instance in particular where the Golf Cart Association came head-to-head with the development on the island, and Wilchcombe stepped in for his constituents.
Mr. Wilchcombe came in, this is where Mr. Wilchcombe came in, and he told them straight and plain that he fought for us. He said that they have a right to protest, and you can't do them anything. The land belongs to the Bahamian government, and we are members of the government and the community of Bimini, so we was entitled to be up there. Our space was there, it should have been designed for us to do all of that, and after he came in and he told them all of that, and he backed right off.
Many people touched on the impact Wilchcombe had as Bimini's Member of Parliament, and when we asked former Chief Councillor Robbie Smith, there was no shortage of examples.
He did a lot in his tenure as the MP for Bimini. You know, he was instrumental in the Hilton Casino and all coming in, the cruise port, the airport upgrade, the dredging of the harbor. He did the road. He also restored the beaches.
And Ellis echoes the sentiment shared by many that Wilchcombe was unfazed by party affiliations when it came to helping others.
He was not concerned about that. He always encouraged you to do the best you can in this community and do as much as you can to help the people in this community. I was a member of the other party, and the Progressive Labour Party at first, and I joined the other party. But knowing him, the way how he, as passionate as he was, and as sensible as he was to things, and you know his charisma was just too great. And he was, as far as I'm concerned, he was the best MP ever been on the island of Bimini now.
Yeah, so the people of Bimini tonight, some are grieving and some are just still in disbelief about what's happened. But one thing that everyone we spoke to today could agree on is that there are some seriously big shoes to fill here. Reporting live from Bimini for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard. Back to you, Italia.
All right, thanks so much, Marlena. Once again, that's our Marlena Leonard reporting live from the island of Bimini. Well, the country's top local court has upheld the drug and firearms convictions of a 60-year-old Apico businessman. The ruling means that Charles Bodie will have to serve the sentence handed down by Magistrate Samuel McKinney on June 22nd. Bodie, an auto mechanic and tow truck driver, operates his business Burr Automotive from his residence on SC Boulevard Total Highway. Now, on October 7, 2022, officers went to the property with a search warrant. The officers found 2,900 pounds of marijuana, 2 kilos of cocaine, 3 firearms and ammunition inside 2 vans on the property. The court rejected arguments that Bodie did not know that the vans were on his property contained contraband. Amid a long-time nursing shortage, Public Hospitals Authority Managing Director Obi Wilchcombe says the public healthcare system is preparing to recruit nurses from Ghana, the Philippines, and possibly India. It comes after the PHA launched a trained clinic nursing class today.
We are now recruiting. We're expecting some Ghanaian nurses in the next few days. Also, some nurses from the Philippines. As recent as last night, India also reached out to me as well. And so we're going to use some of our recruiting companies to see whether we can get some of those persons within the country. We're also doing research so that we can really hear from the nurses what's going on, especially the newer nurses. So we're looking at things to facilitate as well as the barriers to the retention of nurses within the Commonwealth.
Now, for quite some time, larger countries like the United States have been poaching Bahamian nurses, causing the major nursing shortage we now face. In recruiting new foreign nurses, we asked Roel if language or social gaps are a concern.
Diversity plays a role because cultural norms may differ as you move from country to country. However, we have a process in terms of first verifying and validating their credentials, but also they have a very good, strong English language. We've used a lot of Indians. The majority of our anesthetists are Indians, and they speak English very well. So we'll go through the normal process of verification, also looking at the gaps, and if there's anything that they need to make up, definitely the Nursing Council would advise before they're given a license to practice within the Bahamas.
All right, we've got much more to get to in a moment, but here's a quick check on weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson, who joins us live from the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Dalia. We're still seeing a lot of moisture streaming across our area out of the Caribbean, and that kept us partly cloudy to cloudy most of the day. Some showers and thunderstorms across the Northern Island. See that in a short while. 84 degrees outside our studios right now, and as I said, partly cloudy. East-southeast winds at 10 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 91. Satellite and radar composites showing that moisture plumes still entrenched across our area. Showers and thunderstorms mainly concentrated across the northwest Bahamas, Andros, the Berry Islands, Grand Bahama, Bimini. Got some showers earlier today. Big batch of showers and thunderstorms well to the north of us, but this moisture plume will be with us for the remainder of the week and possibly even into next week. So look for some cloudy conditions as well as some showers still in the forecast. That's your quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast and the tropics still to come.
Still to come on our news, the sports minister is on the record tonight defending the cost of renovations for the National Sports Stadium. And later, over $700,000 donated for the upcoming Junkanoo parades. And that's all coming up when our news returns.
Favorite Bahamian artist of all time? I'll give you some time to think about it.
The greatest Bahamian song was recorded by the beginning of the end, Funky Nassau.
We're in a day and age where things can be different and still be authentically Bahamian because it's the Bahamian people bringing it to you.
Junkanoo was like the heart and soul of the Bahamian culture.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer service that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow Our News.
Much discussion has gone into renovations at the National Sporting Complex, particularly repairs to the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. In an article printed in the Nassau Guardian recently, East Grand Bahama Member of Parliament Kwesi Thompson called out the $10 million renovation plan, saying that government must reveal the funder of the project. While Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Bullock had this response.
He would have sit in cabinet for. He understands that there's a process, and anything is done and it's approved by cabinet, and those persons who have the technical expertise goes out and do the scope of work and determine the cost of anything that needs to be done. When it comes to repairing these facilities, it is not a cost which matters. It's an investment in the facilities for us to have the most eloquent and upgraded facilities for our young people and our athletes to be able to prepare themselves to represent this country at the international level.
All right, well, Junkanoo season is open. Officials from the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture presented $736,000 in Junkanoo seed funding to groups in New Providence and Grand Bahama. Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Bullock breaking down the numbers.
We are presenting today to New Providence 7 A category groups of 30,000, 18 B category groups of 15,000, 23 D category groups participating of 1,500, 20 fund group of 2,000, and in Grand Bahama, 6 A category of 9,000 and 4 B category of 4,000. And 32 groups from the Family Islands.
Jonquel Jones and the Liberty tied their series, and the Bahamian baseball prospect has a storybook ending to his team season. Don't go anywhere, our sports is coming up next.
And Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended weather forecast when Our News returns. Stay with us.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile.
Today's sports update is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
This is Our News. Welcome back. John Carl Jones and the Liberty win Game 2, and DeAndre Ayton has a new team. Here's Tage Adderley with a check on sports. Tage?
Thanks, Ataya. Good evening. I'm Tage Adderley here to get you over the hump with our sports. John Carl Jones and the New York Liberty tied their series up against the Connecticut Sun, beating them 84-77 last night in Brooklyn. Jonquel Jones had another double-double last night to help her New York Liberty tie their WNBA semifinal series against the Connecticut Sun last night. JJ scored 11 points and pulled down 13 rebounds to help the Libs get the win. The Liberty went into halftime down 42-38, rallying to win it in the second half. Sabrina Ionescu led the squad with 21 points and 5 assists, and Benisia Laney had 20.
We allowed them to come in and, basically win on our home court, obviously, and we felt like we needed to give the fans something to cheer about. We needed to play New York Liberty style basketball, and the preparation, it was humbling in a lot of areas because we watched the film, and the film doesn't lie, obviously.
Meanwhile, in NBA news, earlier today, DeAndre Ayton was sent to the Portland Trail Blazers in the same monster 3-team deal that sent Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll have more on that story on tomorrow's Sportscast. Moving things over to the Diamond, Chicago Cubs prospect B.J. Murray showed his power off last night as he helped his Tennessee Smokies win the Southern League Championship. Hitting from the right side of the plate, the switch-hitting third baseman smacked a monster 3-run shot to right center field in the top of the third inning to put the team up 4-1. He also drove in a run and reached base on a fielding error in the top of the fifth for his 4th RBI as his team won 10-3, winning the series and winning the Southern League. Now that's how you finish a season. Murray is one of the top prospects in the Cubs organization, and he was also named to the Minor League Futures All-Star Game. I'm pretty sure this is his last season in the minors. That'll do it for sports today. I'm Tage Adderley.
Cloudy conditions outside for this Wednesday. Our Greg Thompson is back with a look at the forecast for the rest of the week when Our News returns. Stay with us.
In In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins with a new Governor General, a new speech from the throne, and with it, a blueprint for a new legislative agenda. Stay with Our News Nightly and follow ournews.bs for analysis and insight, and most of all, what's important to you.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Parliament is prorogued, ending the first legislative session of the Davis administration. It's been 2 years since the PLP-1 elections, ushering in a new government. On October 4th, a brand new session of Parliament begins.
Welcome back to our news. Warm temperatures remain in place and things are heating up in the tropics as a new storm tracks west across the Atlantic. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center live with an extended look. Greg?
Yeah, thanks again, Natalia, and welcome back everybody for a final check. Start you off with the water vapor. There's a lot of moisture being coming pumped out of the tropics, mainly out of the Western Caribbean, across area that's between an upper level low to the north of us and a trough. And then we have a ridge of high pressure to the east of us, and that pattern will continue to be with us for the next several days as this moisture plume continues to plague us. There's an upper level low south of the Hispaniola and San Juan de Puerto Rico. That's providing some shear for Felipe, and Felipe is going to be moving into some drier conditions over the next couple of days, and we expect that system to weaken as it pushes towards the west, and it's actually trying to do a little bit of something that's not usual. It's going to take a west-northwest, west-southwest track across Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, so it's going to get really close to the southeast Bahamas, but as a weakened system, but we'll continue to watch that. Also in the tropics behind Felipe, the Nash Hurricane Center giving a high chance for formation, broad area of disturbed weather that's going to continue to track towards the west. We will continue to watch them. And also off the African coast, more showers and thunderstorms associated with a tropical wave moving off that area as well. Boating conditions for the northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Your winds will be southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet. They will fall light and rebel at times. High tide was at 6:55 this evening. For the central and southeast Bahamas, caution flag in place for you guys down there. East to southeast wind flow at 15 knots. Seas running 3 to 5 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, due to the plume of moisture across our area, we will keep showers in the forecast and they will be greater than 50%, so look for some off and on showers throughout the remainder of the weekend into the weekend, and that looks as though it's going to continue through the next portion of early part of next week. Temperatures should be warm, but it's going to be humid. That's a look at our weather. Make it a great night and stay safe, everybody.
All right, Greg. Looks like lots of rain, but thank you for that. And thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.